Among the technical terms of Buddhism, perhaps there is no word that Buddhist students need to understand and clearly distinguish, if they want to understand the profound teachings of Buddhism, like the two words, truth and truth. And, continuous truth. Indeed, the Buddha, because he wanted to save sentient beings from the suffering of birth and death, relied on the worldly truth to speak Dharma, in order to show sentient beings the true, natural nature of the existing mind. Let sentient beings make their own efforts to practice, liberate themselves from the suffering of birth and death, leave the world of conventional truths, and reach the world of ultimate truth. That is also why Nagarjuna Bodhisattva said that Buddhas, for the sake of sentient beings, rely on the two truths to speak the Dharma. The first is the worldly truth and the second is the first noble truth. If anyone does not realizing these two truths, it is impossible to understand the true meaning of profound Buddhism. If one does not rely on the conventional truth, one cannot see the truth. If one cannot see the truth, one cannot be enlightened, achieve nirvana. Tuc two is a compound word. Tuc means worldly or mundane, tu means truth. Conventional truth means what secular people agree with each other, called conventional truth or relative truth. As for the truth, it is also a compound word, meaning the real truth. Not false, the absolute truth, the ultimate truth, also known as the first noble truth, the true mind, awareness, foot-like. What is absolute truth? No one knows except the enlightened Buddhas and patriarchs themselves. They can't tell us either. The entire teachings of the Buddhas are expedient methods. He uses worldly dharma, i.e. worldly truth, to preach to sentient beings, in order for sentient beings to realize the absolute truth like him, because he sees the Buddha mind and the mind of sentient beings are inherently no different. Inherently self-sufficient and vast throughout space and time. Indeed, through the teachings of Buddha and the patriarchs, the reason there is a difference is because the minds of sentient beings are confused and polluted. The mind is surrounded by greed, hatred, and delusion, by crazy delusions, and by greed for things that exist and are not. Sogyal Rinpoche, a great Tibetan master, compared our mind to being enclosed in a vase that, the space inside the vase is the same as the space outside. When we become enlightened, it is like the vase breaking into pieces, fragments. Right then and there, we directly perceive that they have never had any separation or difference. Because the arising and passing away minds of sentient beings are always attached to the dharmas of existence and non-existence, in the phenomenal world, the worldly truth, the Buddha found it difficult to talk about what he had realized, such as saying about Buddha nature, the true mind, which has no form or quantity. To say that sentient beings have Buddha nature is an attachment, to say that Buddha nature does not exist is an illusion, to say that Buddha nature both exists and does not is contradictory, to say that Buddha nature does not exist or is not non-existent is nonsense. That's why the Buddha used the expedient means of worldly dharma, fake dharma verses, fake names. Which are not Buddha, tell them that he is Buddha, that are not Bodhi, nirvana, liberation, tell them that he is Bodhisattva. Nirvana, liberation. Knowing that they cannot carry 100 quintals, temporarily let them carry a can, a cup. Knowing that they have difficulty believing in the teachings with absolute meaning, temporarily tell them the teachings without absolute meaning, for the time being they will receive good dharma. Circulating is better than evil dharma. Also because this absolute truth is very difficult to understand, receive, and speak, he sometimes had to use verbal examples. Like in the Lotus Sutra, Buddha used 7 examples, including 2 examples, is the house on fire and the story of the doomed child that everyone knows. In addition, there are many other sutras such as Badu Sutra, Miscellaneous Example Sutra, Bodhisattva Origin Sutra, etc. The examples he spoke in the sutra use the allegorical method, containing profound meanings, implying great logic. But this absolute truth cannot be explained directly with words, because words are only a tool to express relative thoughts, things that have shape and appearance in the world of duality. The enlightened ancestors, too, cannot tell us what the absolute truth is, but they only use parables, like the story of the turtle and the fish, as examples. That the turtle crawled to the surface from the water, walked around, then returned to the water, swam next to the fish, and told it stories about the land. But the fish, because it has never left the water, cannot imagine an environment where it can live without water or swimming. Therefore, the turtle had to endure the reputation of talking nonsense, myths, and not being in reality, the absolute realm, the true mind, the enlightened nature, the true reality, that Buddha has enlightened, cannot be told to those who have not yet realized it. For that reason, people sometimes criticize, Buddhism is too sublime, not in reality. But that is the essence of Buddhism. The Diamond Sutra is a profound sutra. Talking about the essence of Buddhism, about the absolute truth, so there is no dharma to say. The Buddha's teachings in the sutras only help sentient beings destroy relative understandings, destroy inherent erroneous views, and long-standing entanglements that are the solid cause of the chain of reincarnation, which has dragged them down, dragging sentient beings into the cycle of eternal damnation. He no longer had any attachments, and he also declared that he did not preach the Dharma, Subhuti. Do not let the Tathagata think, I do preach the Dharma. Do not think like that. Because why? Because if someone says, Tathagata speaks Dharma, that means criticizing Buddha, not understanding what Subhuti said. Saying Dharma, there is no Dharma that can be said. That means Buddha does not talk about absolute truth, about the true mind, Buddha nature, true suchness, because absolute truth cannot be expressed in relatively secular language. He only uses worldly language, that is, worldly truth, to instruct sentient beings, but worldly language, which is a relative dharma, has no self-nature. Only due to the harmony of causes and conditions, and due to the harmony of causes and conditions, unreal. At this point, we return to Bodhisattva Nagarjuna's verse mentioned above in the introduction. Bodhisattva teaches us that if we cannot distinguish between relative truth and absolute truth, that is, worldly truth and ultimate truth, then we cannot understand Buddhism. Due to this lack of understanding and lack of distinction, we ambiguously take the Buddha's words, cannot speak the absolute Dharma, but think that the Buddha said, do not speak the relative Dharma, and we are unintentionally entangled in the destruction of the sutra, containing the heartfelt words of the Buddha. He used secular language and truth to teach secular people how to gradually progress on the path of abandoning the worldly world and returning to the absolute essence. If we do not understand that, and think that the Buddha did not speak the Dharma, then we will lose faith in the sutras, and will lose the opportunity to have an accurate map to find the way back to the absolute true nature of mind.
Thank you for spending your valuable time on my channel Journey to Enlightenment. Wishing you a very peaceful and happy day. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to my support channel. See you in the next video.